Hello, today I'll be solving the additional mathematics paper from May June 2024. This is paper 1 and it's the exact same paper you can find on the website, except I've written out all the questions instead of using the one on the website. But it is the same paper. Anyway, so the first question is telling us to sketch a graph given the equation, and we also have to state the intercepts with the axes. Now, first of all, I'm going to look at this equation and I'm going to work out, okay, when is y 0? There are 3 times when it's 0. One of these things in the brackets has to equal 0. So first one is x equals minus 2, so that's one of them. X equals minus 2, so that's the coordinate minus 2, 0. Next one is x equals a half. And the last one, x equals minus 5. Now, the next thing we are looking for is when x equals 0, what would y be? Well, y would be 1 negative a fifth times 2 times minus 1 times 5, which if you put that into the calculator gives you 2. So that would be the intercept with the y-axis. That would be 0, 2. Now, this big negative tells you the shape is going to be a negative cubic. Why a cubic is because we've got 3 of the x terms, and the largest power is the power of 3, so it is a cubic and it is a negative cubic. So we're just going to sketch the shape of a negative cubic, like so. That's, do draw better than I did, has to go through at this point. That is our negative cubic. The next thing it is saying is to solve this inequality. When is our negative cubic equal to or greater than 0? Now if we look back to our graph, we can see when does this go above 0? Well, we can see that everything here, that goes above 0. And also the stuff in between here, that goes above 0. So, x being less than or equal to minus 5, that's this section, or being in between the minus 2 and a half. Okay, I hope that makes sense. That was a 2 marker. Moving on, I hope you can see the question if I just move this to the... Okay. P of x is this 6x cubed minus 35x squared plus 34x plus 45. Find it in the form of this where, okay, there you go. This is literally just asking you to do a polynomial division, so I'm going to go over that. And that's one of the factors. Now, the answer is not going to be a perfect, it's going to have a remainder because that's what that's kind of suggesting. But it's okay, we just keep going. Sorry about that, that's supposed to be a squared. Move that down. Okay, how many times does that need to go? That's negative 10x. Okay, compare this and this, that would be minus 8. And it seems we have a remainder of 5. Okay, so to write p of x in the form, that would be p of x is equal to, and q of x is that, so this is our q of x, the polynomial, and r, the constant. Well, we've got a remainder of 5, so that's what this 5 is. That would be everything for that question. Okay, one more thing. When you actually answer this question, make it very clear what q of x and r are. I would add a line here saying that's what q is, and then r is 5. Okay, that would have you answering the question. Moving on, we are told Can you see the question? Okay. To write this expression, -5 is a product of its linear factors, so it's literally the same thing minus the remainder. So if you go back, we need to write this as a product of two factors. So how do we go about factorizing that? Well, what two numbers? Okay, so multiplying this and this gives you -24. What two numbers add? How do I explain this properly? What two numbers multiply to give -24 but also add to make -10? If you think for a moment, you get -12 and +2. And we've kind of got this in kind of two groups. I'm going to explain what I'm going to do with this. So that's 3x. And factorize, and that gets you to that. And finally, you are left with p of x -5. Okay, that is done. Now we are told to write down these solutions for 1 mark to this being equal to 5, which is essentially when does this whole thing equal 0 is what that's asking, because if p of x is equal to 5, that would be like 5 minus 5 equals 0. When does this thing equal 0? Basically, what are the roots? When any of these brackets are 0, the whole thing equals 0. So one of them is x equals 5/2. One of them is x equals -2/3. And we've also got x equals 4 that you can work out from this. It's a write down question, so it's relatively straightforward for 1 mark. The next one is to write down 1 plus log x squared minus 1 minus 2 log x minus 1 as a single logarithm to base 10 and give your answer in its simplest form. Okay, so this is just a question where we have to apply all our log laws. Well, how else can I write this? We can use the subtraction rule. Now you might start to notice a few patterns already with simplification. They did say to give it to base 10, and what's another way we can write number 1? That's just log 10. Plus all those things in the brackets. Well, okay, that right there is a difference of 2 squares, which means we can write this as x plus 1, x minus 1. This, now as you can see, cancellation can occur. Next, we're going to use that rule, the addition. That should simply be it. Well, you don't need those huge square brackets at the end. So we are told to solve an equation. The camera's a bit funny. Can you see the equation? Giving your answer in the form a plus b root c. Okay. The important thing here is the change of base rule. I think that's probably the most important thing. So that goes like this: log b a is equal to 1 over log a b. That is the key you need to solve this question. As you can see, we have a change of base that needs to occur. We have to use this rule. to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, I'm going to change the base of this one, the thing right there. And I'm going to say that's actually the same as 1 log base 5 x plus 1. That's what that means. So I'm going to replace that whole thing with this. So that would be 4 log, like that, 9 over log. Now because these two are the same on both sides, I'm going to do a square. Divide both sides by 4, and that would get you to 9 over 4. Take the square root of both sides. And that gets you to plus or minus 3 over 2, which leaves us with 2 cases as to what this could be. Suppose in the first case it's positive, so case 1 is that this is a, I'm just going to move that a bit. Suppose in case 1 this is actually positive, so that would be log base 5 is equal to 3 over 2, and that would be 5 to the power of 3 over 2, which would be like root 5 times root 5 times root 5 3 times, so which would just be 5 root 5, and that would give you x is equal to, okay, case 2 is if this were negative, log base 5. This might be a little, not a little trickier, it does make sense. So what would you do to this to rationalize it? Okay, so you've got that. This would be 1 over 5 root 5, being the inverse of that. What we're going to do is we're going to rationalize the denominator by timesing both sides, by timesing the numerator and the denominator by root 5. And that gets us to root 5 over, well, those 2 root 5s will become a 5, so that will be 25, x plus 1. And that gets you to x is 5 root 5 over 25 minus 1. And those are our 2 solutions for x. So x is either, or x is